This is a Go to War podcast, which is a mindset.
It's time to go to war.
You're the fucking problem. Get your mind right and get ready to go to war.
It's time to go to war.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Go to War podcast. This is your host, John Paramore. A little under the weather today, so it sounds a little more muffled than normal. Hopefully it doesn't sound muffled on a normal basis. But hey, we're here. We've got something super important to go through with you today. And again, like one of the things that I love to do is really pay attention to what's going on in the marketplace right now, what people are talking about. I pay attention to trends and things that are causing some of you problems or issues, and then we resolve them and give you the truth here. So today is incredibly important. Many of you are focused in a direction that might be harming you, and I'm going to give you some clarity and hopefully clean some of that up. Okay, so let me go over the basic homework with you guys. Get you super clear on a couple things. Number one, this is not a podcast where I'm paid to do this podcast. I do not get paid to do this podcast. This is simply 20 years of my own personal experience with past, present, current, relevant topics and things that I like to talk to you guys about. And this is a mindset podcast. This is a podcast that we talk to you guys about things that could potentially limit you in your capacity and ability to produce in your business and your life, things like that. And we give you truth and clarity, but we are not paid. This is not a paid subscription. We don't have sponsors or any of that. The only thing that we ask is that you like, comment, and share this podcast. The more people you get it out to, the more I'm inclined to keep putting out this podcast. And I'm going to tell you something for those of you guys that listen regularly. We've got some incredible people that we're going to be interviewing very, very soon. Powerful people, people who have built some businesses that are in excess of 11 figures. So big money making people. Yeah. And I said 11. So just get that straight. Like there's a couple guys that are going to come on here that have businesses in the billions. Okay. So I want you to understand that. We've also got some people committed that are 9-figure business producers. So some people that are great friends, great business mentors of mine that I want to share with you guys as we go forward. Okay. So that's exciting. Second main piece of information is this is not a podcast for everybody. If you get offended easily by language, salty language to be particular, this is not going to be your space. From time to time when I get passionate, I talk about certain things. Every once in a while, a quote unquote bad word slips out. So if you're offended by that type of language, this is not going to be for you. We just ask you to mosey on. I don't need any bad reviews or any of that stuff. Okay. All right. So the topic that we're going to go through today is simply this. If you don't stand for anything, you stand for nothing. Okay. And the reason why I want to go through this podcast with you guys, one of the things that really makes this podcast relevant at the point in history that we are, is I've seen several people in social media, and I've talked to several people that have said you should keep your politics out of social media. You should keep your politics out of business conversations. You should keep your preferences of how you feel about how people should live, what people should think, what people should believe from a religious standpoint out of business conversations. You should not post about it. You should not talk about it. You should not have conversations about it in a business setting. I'm going to tell you right out of the gate, and I'm going to tell you why it's important as we go, but that is incredibly wrong, and it's absolute bullshit, because here's the deal. Okay. Some of you believe that your audience, who you cater to from a business standpoint, is everyone. It is not everyone. Your ideal client, when it comes to how you market, how you target, how you speak, how you interact with people, is not everyone. Because the truth of the matter is, regardless of the side of the coin that you live on, stand on, believe, whether you believe in God, whether you don't believe in God, whether you think that Donald Trump is your savior or you think that Joe Biden is your savior, whether you think that, something else triggering, right? Whether you think abortion is right or not right. These are all very polarizing, controversial types of topics. And the reason why I'm going to tell you that it's actually the opposite of what people say is politically correct. You shouldn't share those things. You absolutely should, because if you're very firm, if you're in your belief and your walk with Christ, and that's the direction that you're going, and you come in contact, no matter what business you have, with somebody that's on the polar opposite side, does it mean that the two of you cannot get along? Absolutely not. But if for whatever reason they begin to act a certain way, or they begin to believe a certain thing, or they outwardly express something, and it's the polar opposite of what you decide that you believe in, what happens is it could create disdain. It could create a business problem. It could create turmoil inside of a relationship. And for me, and people that I deal with on a regular basis, including some of those people that I was talking about that I'm going to bring onto this podcast, have found through proof, not from theory or some kind of concept that we just threw out there, but through proof that when you express those things and you act the same that you would in private and in public, then guess what? You're going to push away the people that you wouldn't normally want to really do business with anyway, or do life with, or have relationships with. And you're going to attract more of the people that you're actually in alignment with. And if we're all being transparent and honest, wouldn't we all rather do business with our ideal client, which means I want to do more business with the people that have similar beliefs that I do. I want to do more business with people that agree with similar things. Now, am I just going to do business with only people that agree with? No, absolutely not. We've got people that have direct opposite political views. I express my political views very, very openly, very transparently, very honestly. And we've got people that express their views in the total opposite, and we still do business with these people. Okay. On a regular business, on a regular daily activity, we still do business with these people. The difference is they know how I feel. I know how they feel because we've openly discussed it. And what we don't do is we agree to just respect each other's space. And what we don't do is get into arguments about it in the middle. Okay. So I agree that this person feels this way. They agree that I feel this way. We just agree to disagree in the middle. But if we would never have had that conversation openly up front, and they wouldn't have known where I stood and I wouldn't have known where they stood. And then one day, after we've already agreed to a business relationship, I go and make a post or do a video about a specific topic, and it comes out, and then I get this email from this person who's all of a sudden angry, and they're like, oh, we don't want to do business with you anymore. Do you see that? So those of you guys that are listening to this, where you've bought into the people in social media or the people that you've had conversations with, that's like, oh, you don't discuss these things out in the open or whatever the case may be, you're harming yourself. You're harming yourself, because it's only a matter of time before you get into a business relationship or a personal relationship with somebody that's got the polar opposite views. And the second they speak up, or the second that you speak up, and the two of you don't agree, that will alter that relationship. That will dramatically alter that relationship. And I've seen it happen over and over again. I've watched people that are open gun carrying people that are all about the Second Amendment, right to carry, whatever the case may be, get out of a vehicle, go onto a property of a homeowner that's completely against the right to carry, Second Amendment, doesn't want anything to do with guns. They walk on the property, they notice that the person has a pistol on them in their waistband or whatever the case may be, and they're like, this is not going to work. It's confrontational. It's a problem. They have a disagreement, when in all actuality, if the company, and one of the things that the company talked about was, we believe in X, we believe in Y, we believe that If the company is founded and based on biblical or Christian types of views and beliefs, they put that in their messaging. Then anybody who doesn't want to have anything to do with that is not going to call them. Or if they feel like it's going to interfere or interrupt the business and the relationship, they're going to avoid that. And I'm telling you guys, real marketing, authentic marketing is 99% pushing the customers you don't want away and 1% attracting the people to you that you actually want to do business with. So if your marketing message and everything that you're putting out to the public is, we want to do business with the masses, you're going to attract everybody from all different walks of life, and you're going to automatically align with some people better, and you're going to badly have the polar opposite feel with a whole totally different group of people. You know this to be true because we've all done business with people that we think to ourselves, man, I should have never entered into a business agreement with this person. All of us have, okay? And that stems from our marketing or our branding or our imaging or the message that we're putting out to the public not being clear about what we stand for, okay? And that's why I'm telling you guys, if people don't know where you stand, both as an individual and a company, then you stand for nothing, okay? So if you look at some of the most powerful brands out there in the world, perfect example, Chick-fil-A. We all of us know that the founder and CEO of Chick-fil-A has openly and outwardly expressed his Christian beliefs. And so if that's something that you're against and you don't support and you don't like the fact that they're closed on Sunday, that makes you avoid going to eat there, good. That's exactly what he wants. But he also says that because we're based on these things, we stand for these things, we will not do business on Sunday. And somebody's given them report after report after report that if you were open on Sunday, how many more billions of dollars this company could make, and they don't care because they're steadfast and built on what they believe. So you guys all know that, right? And there's actually companies out there that express the opposite view. There's companies out there that openly express that they are very pro-Republican, left or right wing. There's companies out there that express they are very left wing. They're very democratic, liberal, whatever you want to call it. And it's that old saying, I'm sure all of you have heard, like attracts like. That there's a reason why some people get along better than other people. There's a reason why some people align better than other people. There's a reason why things like core values inside of a company are incredibly important, because if somebody comes in and they see what your core values are up on the wall, they read a couple of them and they don't align with them, they can make a choice in that place to say, well, I don't want to work here because I don't agree with everything that's up on that wall. If you never put what you stand for out in public, out in a place where people can see what you stand for, then you need to be prepared for the people that you hire in your organization or the people that come to do business in your organization to dictate to you what you stand for. Because you're essentially saying, regardless of who the customer is, regardless of who the person is that's coming from an employment standpoint or to work with us, they're going to dictate what the beliefs are, because I don't want to get involved in what my beliefs are. I don't want to express that for fear of judgment, for fear of somebody not wanting to do business with you, for fear of maybe not having any customers. But I'm going to tell you, again, as a guy who's done it himself and who's friends with a lot of people that constantly express their truth and what they believe, it's the polar opposite of what you think it would be. People are attracted and people align themselves when they know what you stand for and they know what you believe, because it helps them to see, I want to do more business with this guy. I want to build a deeper relationship with this guy. I want to be part of what this guy is doing. I want this guy to mentor me. But if what you stand for is nothing and that's not clear, like I said before, you have to expect and understand the type of person that you actually want to do business with is going to be everybody. And That means that you're going to be building business relationships with and personal relationships with a lot of people that have very, very polar opposite beliefs than what you actually have. Okay. And it's kind of like, I want you guys to think about it like this, right? Like we go through a process of dating our spouse way before we get married to them. For some people, it's months. For some people, it's years. But it's like a vetting process, right? Can I see myself in alignment with this person? Do we have similar views? Would we raise our kids the same? Would we do we believe in the same things? Or are we on opposite sides? You typically don't marry people who have polar opposite views from what you have. Yes, you can marry people who have opposite personalities, but not typically opposite views. Okay? And it's the same thing. If you treat your business like a marriage and you look at it like, well, I'm going to go date or do business with a lot of people, but I'm never going to tell these people what I stand for, you're going to end up in a bad relationship that essentially ends badly. Okay? So I'm going to tell you guys, especially those of you that are listening to this that are business owners, you've got to start getting your beliefs out there. And I'm not saying, this is not me saying to you, go make posts all of a sudden where you're just like, here's a list of all 73 of my beliefs. That's not what I'm saying at all. Okay. I'm saying you can put it out there in a way that's relatively subtle. If you make posts or you have images about going to church, that's pretty subtle and it tells people that's what you believe. Okay. If you wear t-shirts or MAGA hats or whatever, and you're pro-Trump, people are going to understand that without you saying it, right? I'm a little more outspoken. I post what I believe in clear, plain view English. Why? Because if you aren't in alignment with it, you need to get out of my space. Okay. And I learned that from people that are way more successful than me. Okay. You should not be ashamed for what you believe. You should not be ashamed for your truth. You should be ashamed when you don't even know what you stand for. You don't know what you believe, or you feel so like it's inappropriate to even talk about that stuff or post it online. That means that there's somebody that could read it. If we're all being transparent and honest, the only reason why you wouldn't post what you believe and what you stand for on your page or talk about it in public is if you've got people on your page or you got people in your life that you feel like are going to shame you for how you believe and what your truth is. And I'm telling you, that's a miserable place to be. Like, you don't want those people in your life. That doesn't make sense for anybody. Okay. So let's bring this back around and get you guys clear on a couple things. Okay. Number one, how often are you posting or talking about or discussing what you believe with other people? Number two, could the 10 most interactive people in your life, your husband, your wife, your kids, your family members, the people that you contact with the most, your employees, people that you hang out with, the 5 to 10 most interactive relationships in your life, could you ask them, hey, what do I stand for? Could they tell you? Could they reiterate that we believe that you believe in God? We believe that you love guns. We believe that you're a patriot. We believe that you believe in the United States. We believe that you're a Trump supporter or a Biden supporter. Could they reiterate these things based on what you said and how you behaved? And I'm going to have you consider, if the answer to that question is no, then you're a little bit of a puppet right now. You're being dangled around and nobody really knows what you stand for. So therefore, it's just assumed that you don't really stand for a whole lot. You're kind of just there. Okay. And that's not a great place to be. People need to know where you draw the line. I have a lot of respect for someone if they come to me and say, hey, we want you to speak to a group of people, but we know that you are very open. You're very honest. And sometimes you use profanity. We're just going to ask you to come into our space and limit the amount of profanity. We love you for who you are. We're just asking you to have a little respect for our particular beliefs and limit the amount of profanity. That I can deal with, because what they're doing is they're saying, they're not asking me to be less of who I am. They're just saying, hey, Can we draw a line in the sand, and can we create a relationship based on each other's beliefs? Can we have some respect in this space of each other's beliefs? Absolutely. Okay. There are certain things where I draw hard lines, and if they said, hey, we're a XYZ organization that believes in this particular set of politics, we need you to tone that down and not express that and not have anything to do with that. And if somebody asks you a question that could go against what you believe, we need you just to kind of pander them. I'm not doing that. That's where I draw the line. Okay. And that's what I'm talking about, when you've got to have a set of standards and beliefs that when they get called into question, you go, no, that's not it. That's where I draw the line. I'm not going past that point. Okay. And if people don't know what that is, and you wait till the 11th hour to share that with them, that's where problems occur. Okay. So when's the last time you talked openly about what you believe? When's the last time you shared openly your truth? And if you don't feel comfortable in doing so, what is it, or who is it that's in your life right now that's causing you some reservation, that's telling you or making you feel like you can't be who you really are and talk about what you really believe? Okay. So I would strongly suggest that you develop, most of you already know, I guarantee it, but I would strongly suggest that you develop or put in a core standard of beliefs into your world. And I would strongly suggest that you write those out. Okay. They're almost non-negotiable things. Your core standard of beliefs are non-negotiable things. Okay. So write those things out and then talk about those things. Talk about those things openly. Talk about those things privately. Talk about those things intimately. Be transparent. Okay. Be vulnerable, because that, my friends, is what attracts people to you. When people don't know what you stand for, they just assume you stand for nothing. They want nothing to do with you. Okay. So I want you guys to really think about this. I want you guys to prepare yourselves for this. And when you're ready to start putting it out into public, get your mind right and go to war.
It's time to go to war.
Thank you for listening to the Go to War podcast. For more information about Smash, please visit www.thesmashco.com. This has been the Go to War podcast.